look at this. Look at you in the sunshine. You're like you're like Kramer at Del Boca Vista. Look at the sunshine just shining on your face there.
It's fantastic. It's a beautiful day. It's not sweltering and humid in the Florida. That's what we call it down here, is the Florida.
I dug deep to break out Del Boca Vista off the top of my head, man. That's
Del
bad,
Vista.
Right?
There's
You're
like
gonna
a
run for the
blooper.
board.
There's a blooper of George's dad, like, and he can't say Del Boca Vista. It's really funny. Anyway, how you doing, man? Good week?
Yeah, really good.
Chipper.
Yeah, you were. Well, I got to admit, good man. You made it. You powered through the post Friendsgiving episode the morning after. You did well, man. I was happy for you.
It picked up. I think at the beginning I was kind of like, "Oh boy, it's going to be rough," but we we got through it. We got through it, and it was our friendship that brought me through. That's what happens. See, it energizes me.
Well, and maybe that even fits into our show topic today. Who knew we needed those skills to when we got into this whole world, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been a good week. It is it's bloody cold, man. It is I know, December, Minnesota, big surprise. Who did that to you, Adam? But like man, yesterday the wind, and Zibs and Snake X will know about it. Man, that wind was Everybody told me how cold it was when I got here. Nobody told me about the wind coming off the prairies, man. It's unbelievable how windy. We had these air sirens that go off, and I think that they're powered by I think they're like really big versions of, like a thing you can spin and make noise with. I think when the wind spins them fast enough, they set off the sirens, and the sirens were going yesterday. I was like,
the sirens are going off, stay inside.
Well, I think that they're actually like tornado and storm sirens. So like you check the weather, like it was no tornadoes. It was just wind. Like I don't even know the numbers. I don't know. Somebody else could speak to it. Like I say, there's a couple Minnesotans in the audience. They could speak to it, but yeah, chasing the garbage cans around the driveway. Yeah. So it was, I mean, and the thing is too, it's dangerous on the roads because the roads are icy. And so you catch a sideways wind, but it was also like swirling. I could tell yesterday, when you're like driving in a crosswind and it's, kind of shaky, but then I would feel like this weird push, like you're getting like a little turbo boost too, man. Yeah. So yeah, Ziv said something like 50 mile an hour. It's crazy, man. I was like, this is, and then of course it just makes the cold even more. So it was like, it hovered right around 10 degrees yesterday.
You're making me rethink
in the daytime, and then you throw the wind.
It's getting close to the end of the year, and I'm working on some resolutions, New Year's resolutions. And you're making me rethink one of them.
What's that resolution?
One of my resolutions that I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get up to Minnesota and visit my friend Adam.
I second that, and I think I talked to one of the other officers on the board and thought that we might need to convene a Proper Royals, Proper Brands board meeting. And there's a little bit of money in the budget for such things. I don't know if she passed on the message to you.
She did,
but yeah,
that,
the board retreat will definitely be held in a month that does not end in R. I think that's the rule. So with oysters, you want a month that ends in R. To come to Minnesota, you want a month that doesn't end in R. So,
but not February.
Or have R in it at all. I think that's the rule. You go, yeah, because you want May, R. June, July, August. That's it. Those are the ones you want. That's it. May, June, July, August.
Okay, we can swing that. That's good.
No, September is really nice. October's iffy, and then from there on, man, put it this way, we're going to get into the 30s this weekend, and everybody's like, man, it's going to be nice. And I'm like,
yeah. This is, but you still got a t-shirt on. Like here, it's in the 50s, and I'm like bundled up. I got a I got a sweatshirt on. Last night I went to a soccer game. I had like a big winter coat on, and it was like in the low 50s.
Yeah, but it's 78 degrees in here year round. It's 78 and sunny. Right?
Oh,
it's like
yeah,
Philadelphia
that's right.
here. Yeah, I'm in the snake room. But no, the house, man, you always got to wear layers, and like it's an old house. It's not that old. It's from the 60s, but it's an older house. But like depending on what room you're in, like you get to know which rooms are cold and drafty and which ones are a little bit warmer and where the vents work the best, So
so what are you thinking about this week? What's your one thing that's on your mind, Adam?
I had my one thing. I guess I have a really quickly quick shout out to Robin. Been hanging out with Robin too much. Robert at Husbandry.pro. He says, I got a text. I got a little pep talk this morning from him. 6:06. A text comes through. He says, it's been 3 weeks since I've been able to tune in. We better hear some good stuff today. So just to let you know, Joe, we got the big dogs in the house. The executives are here inspecting the shop this morning. Okay. Yeah, get none of this usual balderdash we generally deliver. We need the good stuff today, okay?
All right, enough about the weather. I mean,
enough about the weather. Yeah, let's get some real content going here. While we're doing that, go check out properroyals.com. If you go there, that's powered by Husbandry.pro, and there's a banner there. You can use the promo code PRoyals60, get yourself 60 days for free on Husbandry.pro, or there's a banner you can click right on it. But if you look at properroyals.com, you'll see all those snakes. Those are and what's for sale and everything is imported directly from Husbandry.pro. You can organize your collection, you can sell your collection, you can feature it, data collection, organization, systems and processes, all that good stuff that I love. Right under one roof at Husbandry.pro, and they're pretty good people. I got to tell you that too. I like good people doing good things together. You know what I mean? So, so the one thing I think the world, what do we say? The world, the universe, God, karma, whatever that whole umbrella is, has a way of. What I think there's an expression that says like whether we believe it or not, everything is always in balance. So you could be up, something else is going to be down. It's going to come around. It's like the Even Steven Seinfeld episode.
Even Steven, yes.
Throws the 20 out the window. There's one in his pocket, So I do these like musician showcase kind of things. I mean, they're really kind of glorified open mics, but they're also like you got to be approved kind of thing. So it's a little bit of a better experience for the audience, and you get in theory, you get a good caliber of musicians. So here I am thinking, all right, I got this showcase thing Monday night. I go do that and it goes well. It's fun. Yesterday, totally out of the blue, unexpected. I had no idea. The host says, hey, one of a DJ from a local radio station was here, and they do live music on the morning drive on Fridays on the way in. Do you want to do a live spot on some local radio? I was like, he was like, do you mind if I pass on your information? I was like, hell yeah, man. Look at all that. I'm busting out the, the chops and getting the radio spot. I said, yeah, was it a couple songs or whatever? He says, no, it's from 7:10 in the morning till 9:30 with commercial and news updates. So it's a full like show. And I'm like, pretty good, man. Pretty good. I got to say. Yeah. I'm like, all right, man. Well, I said, he says, well, we could schedule it. And, kind of Patty's Day is coming up. Maybe you could do some like feature thing like that. It's 10 weeks out or whatever. I said, cool. I said, what radio station is it? And he says it's KCHK. And I'm like, all right, never heard of KCHK. I know nothing about KCHK.
Okay.
So this is where the universe just puts everything right back in place. You're up. You're about to get humbled. I Google KCHK. And KCHK says, featuring the classics, golden oldies, and polka. I swear to God.
Oh, Adam.
Well, I'm gonna go do it. I mean, I can't tell them no. This is you got to put yourself out there. But I think I'm gonna get an accompanist. I think I'm gonna actually. There's a really good musician that's done a pub gig with me here in town that plays accordion. I think we'll do a pub show, like an accordion guitar duo. Yeah,
you're gonna actually do that. Get the accordion and
yeah, I'll pursue it if they'll. I mean, if they'll have me, I still got to get in touch with the DJ and hear how things. I don't know. He might be like, I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's the first start. But yeah, I was like, oh, I was like, maybe this is like the Minnesota NPR. Like, I'll get the morning drive. This is like, because what radio stations still really exist? They got to be really kind of specialized.
Yeah.
And the other funny thing or neat thing to me. There's some like almost what I'd call it, like describe as like enclaves in Minnesota, these towns. So there's very strong Scandinavian, Swedish, Norwegian influence towns, and some of the stereotypically older generations still speak their not native but heritage languages, and like even Kelly's family, they'll do things like lutefisk and lefse breads, very Swedish kind of foods and backgrounds.
Okay.
Well, there's a town, and you see it on the highway, and it says New Prague, but they actually pronounce it New Prague, and New Prague is a Czech enclave, and that is where KCHK is from, and that's what the CHK is. Yeah, I just learned all of this, man. That's what but it's a good opportunity because New Prague is only about 7 miles down the road from Lonsdale, which is where the new car wash is. I gotta go. I gotta do the live spot and promo some car wash business is what I think.
Yes, definitely. I mean, and will they? Yeah, I mean, they'll allow you to do that, I guess.
I mean, I don't want to just stroll in and go flexing car washes, but if I'm live on the radio, I mean,
that sounds great. I mean, still, it's whatever.
Right.
Get the accordion. Yeah, go in, do your thing. I think it's great exposure.
I mean, I wasn't too proud to play on. This is true. I wasn't too proud to play on street corners in St. Augustine growing up. Why not get in a live studio with some professional equipment?
That's awesome. Now, but you said it'll be down the road a little bit. Like
it's got to get scheduled. I mean, I guess they do it every Friday, so I guess they have. I don't know. So the guy that was hosting the showcase said, "Hey, do you mind if I pass on your information to this DJ?" He liked what I don't know. He asked for the information, so he just said, "Hey, it's every Friday. You'll have to schedule." It's really funny. The guy that got in touch with me, he made a special note. He's like, "They'll have coffee and donuts for you, but you have to get there at 6 a.m." And I'm like, "What is this? Like weird stuff?" Okay.
And you went, "Oh." Yes,
I was like, yeah, right. I was like, oh, that seals the deal, man. Really, it was my ego that sealed. I was like, oh, live radio about me. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll do it.
Oh, man, that sounds great. Now, can you stream this when it's on? Can you stream it live?
I have no clue. I'll share more when I find out more, but yeah, I don't know. I have no idea, man. I sometimes I get myself in just odd things. We did with Spade in Jacksonville, the band that I always played with for a long time. We did a morning show, like a live, like a morning show spot one time, and then then they did like there was the live thing, and then they did a little background on us and a piece on the Flies tie as well. But that was funny because that was super early in the morning, and I remember the lights being just blazing hot, man. This was before the LED lights. It was so hot in that studio. And then there was some problem where the morning producers were like, there's not enough electricity in here, guys. Some of y'all are just going to have to lip sync and fake it. And I was one of those. So I was just acting and faking that whole, I'm not actually doing anything other than standing there and pretending to play that whole episode. Yeah.
The magic of show business, I guess.
If nobody knows the difference, I guess it's no big deal. It is kind of weird because at the time you think it's like the coolest thing you've ever done, and then they're like, "Yeah, you're not going to actually doing it. You can be in the picture, but that's it." Like, oh.
Now it's funny that you mention radio, because my one thing is that I took a little trip, and I think I mentioned it last week. I used to make fun of people on the road driving big trucks, pickup trucks,
Okay,
because
yeah,
specifically in Florida, they seem to be the worst, most aggressive drivers. Like, here's my big truck and I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want.
Was there are we talking the kind that usually have the fake plastic?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have been outlawed, but I'm not sure. I don't think they're around anymore.
We're stepping on their free speech and freedom of expression with the.
Apparently, you can't hang fake nuts from the end of
the anatomy. Really, I didn't know they had been.
I think so. I don't know. I'm not
I would think that would make even more that you had to. I would think that would bring them out of the woodwork and get some more.
I haven't seen them much lately.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but you are correct. And
I'm envisioning the stereotype.
Most large trucks like that they're just the worst to drive around. It's just they're awful. And I'm not saying so this is the problem. I am now a proud owner of one of those large pickup trucks. Did I say?
Do you have the appropriate anatomy, or has your truck been fixed, shall we say?
Well, the thing is, I bought it from my in-laws, so
right.
So they wouldn't have. No, they don't have the proper anatomy on them.
Okay.
They have a sticker that says "I love my dog," which I don't know if I'm going to keep on there or not. It's a little bit of a different vibe than truck nuts. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So a bit of a eunuch of a truck, if we were to.
I don't know. Right. But this is what I had to do. I flew to Michigan, to where it was. They have like this lake house in Michigan, and they had.
I have to admit, I forgot all about your trip. This is an excellent trip. So you fly to Michigan to buy the truck
on Friday. Early Friday morning, I fly to Michigan, to Detroit, and we get in. I mean, we took the early flight. I think it was like 5:45 or something like that. So we get into Michigan. We get the truck, which is about 2 hours from Detroit. So we have to get picked up by a neighbor, super friendly people. They come and pick us up that early in the morning. We get the truck, and then we drive. And I booked a place in Nashville. So we went from Tampa to Detroit, and then to Nashville. And then the next day we went from Nashville to Florida. So it was a 2-day trip. It was like that. But the problem is, it's a 2003 Chevy Silverado, and it's got a 6-disc changer, a CD player that does not work. So I didn't even pack like CDs because it doesn't work or anything. And I don't know, maybe I'd have to dig around and find some CDs. But
right.
So we needed to listen to the radio. So when we weren't talking, we put on the radio, and my gosh, there is not. I mean,
it's junk, right? If you don't have Sirius XM, don't even bother with it. You got to stream something on your phone. You got to do something.
Yeah. This is what it was. It was like, so it's the day after Thanksgiving. So it's either Christmas and terrible Christmas music, just terrible.
Mariah Carey all day long. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Christmas music. Now classic. There was classic rock stations. Which
AC/DC, all right,
but they played. I mean, we're in the car. It's like this. It must be. I don't know how radio works. It must be like there's certain songs that are cheaper to play than others, because it was like It was so it was like a lot of ZZ Top, lots of ZZ Top.
So you got your Eagles, you got your ZZ Top, you got some Tom
Legs,
Petty,
and yes.
Oh yeah, you got Legs. Okay,
not even Tom Petty. I would be happy with Tom Petty, but it was like late or maybe early '80s, like rock. There was a lot of Aerosmith, the Amazing, Crazy, Crying era of Aerosmith. Lots of Aerosmith.
What about Foreigner? Like, they seem like they're just into the arena of classic rock, but they're like, yeah, we could get them a little cheaper. Let's get Foreigner in here.
Okay, so you see, and that was few and far between. You settle on that, you go, okay, but we heard this song a number of times. Lots of Billy Idol. I didn't know Billy Idol was still around and playing, and
he's doing all right.
So there's that. So that was the best of them. So Christmas, classic rock, playing the same stuff. The amount of country music and just bad country music, bad. And then, but mostly it was Christian talk radio. It was like, this is what the Bible says. This is what this is. So, and Chelsea doesn't want to listen to that. Like, I'm interested in that, but Chelsea doesn't want to listen. And
it's like the good, like hellfire stuff, right? This is some Old Testament. Yeah, this is scary.
You better get your life in order. It's coming. Yeah. The end is near. The kingdom of God is here, and it's coming, and you better get your affairs in order.
Right.
So not the best, most uplifting aspect of Christianity. so that was it. But I've become like, I love this truck. It's really fun. I like having it. Gas mileage is a little different. We have a Prius, and now we have this truck.
Like I say, the world is in balance. It's all, you might not realize it. There's always balance, man.
I did some. Yeah. What's up?
Oh, well, I was going to say, so I had a 2008 Silverado. Have you been to your local Publix grocery store yet in your Silverado?
No.
It's impossible. You're going to walk all the way across the parking lot because you
can't.
You're like a bull in a china shop with a full-size pickup truck in a Publix parking lot, and you're like, you know what? It's just easier to park way. I used to think all these truck people. I had a massive one. All these truck people were parking back there because they were so proud of their trucks and they couldn't get hit, and they were so they were too good to park with the normal.
It's just necessity.
Yeah, you just can't get there, man. It's just not worth it. By the time you like inch your way in, your truck's either going to get banged up or you're going to hit somebody, and you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to walk.
That's the great thing about having a Prius. It's so small.
Yeah.
And you go, I could park this anywhere and nobody will even notice it. I can park it on the sidewalk. People will just walk around it, I did some math though. This is like a 1,200 mile, trip. The 1,250 miles.
Can I take a guess at the over under on this gas mileage on it?
Yeah, sure.
Did you do the math? You have the number?
I have as much as it costs at a rate of $3 a gallon, which is the average.
Okay, so you didn't do the mile per gallon. You're just going.
I did.
Ouch! It's expensive to refill.
Yes, I did do the miles per gallon. Yeah. So
I'm gonna go with highway. You're doing 74 at a good click. You're getting 15 and change per gallon.
That's actually worse than what I calculated.
Good for you. That's good.
Yeah.
If you're better than 15 in a Silverado, you're doing great, man.
It's still though, like so I calculated 18.
Wow, that's actually really good. That's a V8.
Yeah.
That's really good. My Tacoma is about 18, and that's a V6, but it's 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, but then I go, okay. Then at the end of the trip, I was like, what? I kind of looked back in retrospect. I was like, that was an expensive trip.
Right. Yeah. You could have flown a few places for that price. Right?
It was double, more than double what it takes to do in the Prius. The Prius is like, you fill it up. It's $30. It's a 10-gallon tank. and you get 550 miles out of it. It's incredible.
Well, congratulations. What happened with the Hyundai? Big parking lot in the sky. Where'd you send it?
We got it. We still got it. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. There's a few people that are looking for. I got a friend who's looking for one. Raleigh's looking for Raleigh, and has a friend who's looking for a car. You know, like a starter car and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna hang on to it just for a little bit, just to see, you know, if it's necessary to hang on to. But I know it's kind of overkill. I mean, we have 2 teenagers who live in the house. They both have cars. Now there's more cars in our driveway than there are people living in the house. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So something's got to give here. It's really stupid. Now, insurance, I mean, the insurance isn't that high because I have all these old cars.
You've bundled everything. You've got the economy scale.
And they're so old that they're like, yeah, whatever, $50 a month.
Did you I remember when I first bought my first big truck, it felt like I was riding on like a living room sofa. Like I felt like I was on a couch going down the highway. Did you have that sensation in your Silverado?
Well, it's definitely a lot more comfortable than the Prius. And you definitely get more respect on the road. Like,
okay, look, like if your baseline is a Prius for respect, yes, you're going to get more in anything else, Joe. Continue. Go ahead.
Yes. Like if everybody makes mistakes when they're driving, right? But everybody else acts as though they're perfect drivers and nobody should ever make a mistake. If I make a mistake in a Prius, like, people go, what is this?
You're getting some fingers, huh? Yeah, okay.
Get your act together, whatever. I make a little mistake in the truck, and it's like, oh, that guy knows maybe I should just do what that guy does. You know, that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, let's give him a little space. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but I do actually really love having it. I can't wait for this weekend. And like I said last week, the first big thing I'm going to do is load it up with a bunch of junk that we want to get rid of and take it to the dump. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, man, you're going to be excited for it. Congratulations, man. Did you name it? What do you call this thing?
Oh no, I haven't named it yet. Is that what you're supposed to do? I've never owned a truck.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. You get one of those little like trucker mud flap logos, slap that on there. No nuts on it. All right, we'll skip that. You don't have any like customized plans, decking it out or anything?
I don't know. I haven't. It's an empty canvas right now.
That's true.
Except
That's
for
true.
the I love my dog thing. I might take that off because it loses some cachet with the I love my dog.
With the respect and the authority of the truck.
Yes. Yes. Especially when people see my dog. It's a little tiny Chihuahua. So
again, the universe in balance. Big truck with Chihuahua.
There it is. It is really funny though. There is some deference that is given to truck that you don't get in other cars.
Yeah. Well, again, it's a Prius. Come on, Joe.
Anyway.
So, yeah, man. Good. Well, safe trip. Did you have a little bit of fun in Nashville or not?
Yeah. I mean, we got in kind of late. We stayed in a hotel in the West End, and like the hotel bar had like a band. We were too tired to like go down to Broadway, but we stopped in at one of our favorite places there called Tailgate, and we had a good meal there, and we got a drink at like a little a bar outside the hotel. So not crazy, not a crazy Nashville wild night. No running into. I hear it's the bachelorette party capital of the.
It's the place. Look, one of my biggest fears in life is that I don't even want to go down this road. How do I put this in a brighter light? If I were a younger man and single, yeah, I would frequent Broadway just for the shenanigans. Yeah, man. those days have passed me, and truly my biggest fear in life is not being married anymore. So I'm extremely happy, but that would be where I would rebound if I were ever to suffer such a tragedy.
I'm also maxed out. I think my body is maxed out this year on doing things like that, like having a night out and eating something like I was thinking about my resolutions this past year, which maybe we'll have a resolution show or something. But actually saying the resolutions for 2024 has really, it hasn't helped me, but it keeps my resolutions in mind.
Yeah, right.
And how I failed.
It reinforces the regret and the shame. Yes, there we go. That's the one.
Right.
Well, all right, let's get on to some show business and some housekeeping. Today's the 5th, so in 2 weeks would be the 19th. And along the lines of what you're talking about, I think we have to do our annual airing of grievances, new rules for 2025, and resolutions. That should be on the agenda on the 19th, 2 weeks from now. Or are we going to do it the post-Christmas episode?
No, let's do the 2 weeks from now, airing of grievances, new rules, and resolutions, or no?
Yeah. Well, because they all flow together. You identify the problem, you make the rule, and then you set the goal.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, we can do that.
All right, cool. Boom, there we go. That's all I had on the housekeeping list. There we go. We're good on show business. Joe, you speaking of show business, so what the people don't know is that we just fire ideas back and forth to each other on texts. And today you had fired off one with some different ideas, and one of them was unexpected necessary skills that maybe in the snake world, but maybe just business in general too. What'd you have in mind? What got you cooking this week on that?
Yeah, I wanted to hear about the snake world in this regard, because I can at this point, regular listeners kind of know that I have a varied background, that I was a hospice chaplain. I worked at a magazine. I worked for a Catholic nonprofit. I've worked for the Department of Defense. I worked in the the domestic violence space, all of that kind of stuff. So, and it is surprising. Like when I was a hospice chaplain, I was traveling around New York City. So one of the skills was navigation. Like to go to these different places, I had to really hone in on how to get to different spaces and how to use the subway system properly and all that stuff.
Was this before? Actually, I'm really intrigued. Was that before like the days of GPS? Like now, I don't even I got a really important meeting tomorrow. I don't even know where it is, but I have the address. I'll just plug it in and figure it out.
Yeah. It was before GPS. Yes.
So that's some real navigation in New York City. Holy cow!
I didn't have a smartphone at that point. It was like, it was like, oh, I have to get to this cross street. And so where's the closest subway to that cross street? Whatever. Now, what is interesting is that now I work in accounting. Now, the sun has really.
I was going to say, you need some shades. First rule 2025. Let's get Joe some shades. Drapes, as they call them.
But what surprises me now, I'm in accounting, and I meet people. They come in, they talk immediately about things that they don't talk to anybody about, which was surprising to me. But it doesn't, I mean, now that I think about it, it's not surprising. People don't talk about their money situation. They don't talk about this. So they're talking to me about things that they don't talk to their best friends about, that they actually hide from other people. And I feel as though I've had as many people crying in my office as an accountant,
really,
as I did as a hospice chaplain. So that was super surprising to me, that I could reach back and I could go, okay, let me kind of de-escalate. Let's just have a conversation. Let's change the perspective of things. Let me just sit here and listen to you, instead of constantly, thinking, okay, what's the best, thing you can do for your taxes, right? If somebody's, is worried and crying or something about like that, you know, you don't go, okay, well, this is, let's see your list of expenses, please. You have to you got to back off of that, and you gotta you gotta kind of, okay, let's talk, let's calm down a little bit, let's, you know, so that was really surprising to me. And the reason that this comes up is, you know, that there was an incident like that recently. So I started to wonder when we were thinking about topics today, like when you got into this, and the people in the chat, like, what are those things that you go, oh, I didn't know I had to do this, and you had to either develop that skill, or you could reach back and go, oh, I'm really good at this. I'm gonna put this into my work here.
Dude, those experiences are great. I apologize because I think that my internet is choppy, and lo and behold, I did not switch to the proper channel. So I'm wondering if I
proper
should just
channel.
switch it. I know. Should I switch it and bite the bullet of the break and the chop, or should I fight through it? What do you want to do?
You should switch it, and I'll continue to tell some tales about my past.
I'll be right back. Bam.
Oh boy, I'm going solo. I'm flying solo. This is so scary. This is something that I didn't realize that I needed to do in my professional life, is develop this skill of being on a podcast and talking about about snakes. That's something that I would never think that I would need to hone.
Yeah, this atmosphere has to be totally different. Like, you didn't have it on your bingo card 2 years ago that no. You know,
we talked a little bit about that last week too, like how these entities, these people come together, and every single thing that's something I would say about all of those different things that I've done, is recognizing the importance of the now and really capitalizing on the chance meetings that you have with people. And really, and recognizing that, trying to recognize that every single time you meet somebody or interact with somebody, that's a really tough thing. Now I'm speaking like more, you know, probably a larger picture, but what are those things, Adam, that you never thought that you needed to hone when you got into this industry?
The list is long. I think I even texted you. The well runs deep here. This is but like you, I'm going to go backwards for just a second. I can remember at the, you know, a particular property that I was working at. I was the food and beverage director first and foremost, but I was over group sales. I was over our lakefront operations, so boat rentals, all of that stuff, and I was over banquets, weddings, all that. And I remember one day just like yelling, maybe not yelling, hopefully I wasn't yelling, but I might have been, to the group of managers. And I said, all I want to do is run an effing restaurant. And it's like all the other stuff that you have to do. And I think, but I think most businesses are that way. I think like there's many days where I'm like, all I want to do is just work with my snakes. And it's the beauty, and you can let it be a curse if it gets overwhelming, but it's the beauty of building a business. There's and most of that other stuff is people, is really what it comes down to. There's business relationships. We found a way to monetize some space with ad space, and we bring value to those relationships that way. Well, that's new. That takes work. It's not just, hey, write the check, put your logo there, because at some point you got to deliver value. Just like you don't, you know, if the cell phone company stops delivering value, you're going to go from one company to the next down the street. So there's that stuff. There's the Mr. Fix-It. Like, I'm probably not going to call a plumber. Like, I got to figure out my sink. Like, I could, but now I'm already, you know, you're like, man, I'm already X hundreds of dollars into bootstrapping this thing. I don't want to call a plumber. Or I'm trying to meet the the local contractors that moonlight. They'll take moonlighting jobs so I could pay them in cash, but they're going to come into the house and put the floor in from 8 to midnight for 4 nights instead of normal stuff. So there's a lot, and it's almost endless. And it can feel overwhelming because you get into it for the passion, but then there's all the other stuff like accounting, man. Like I'm good at it, but I hate it. It's just mundane work. And there's an idea that I like, and you can't avoid either one of them, but the concept of work that's adding value for the customer and then work that just has to be done. And I like the idea of work that adds value to the customer. I get chills talking about it. I want to do that myself, and I want to be the one completing that work. Work that just has to get done. I want to get to a point where I'm making enough where I can pay people to do that work.
Right.
I can pay a specialist to go do that work. I'm not anywhere near that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just, writing checks left and right. That's not the case. But the philosophy of that is actually like a goal of mine. And as I look forward, I'm starting to classify my tasks and my job and my daily life and routine around what's bringing value for the customer and what just has to be done. And then, of course, what can I improve and get better at efficiently or cut out, or where am I wasting? Waste can be in time, it can be in dollars, it can be in materials, all of that stuff. So what waste can I eliminate and streamline? And all of that has nothing to do with nailing a beautiful double visual with brightening allelic combinations in it, which is really what I want to get after. So
that's the future. It is the future.
It really is the future. If you stop and think about it, another great way to just get out of any conversation is you could just say, I'm not disenfranchised by the idea, and then you walk away.
That's a special skill that you had to develop.
Oh, that came from board meetings where I'm like half asleep and like, Adam, what do you think? I'm not disenfranchised by the idea. I'd like to hear more. That's going to get you through a lot of board meetings right there.
We do have some comments from the chat. I mean, education and marketing. That was one thing.
Big time. Yeah.
And what do you mean by education? I don't like educating people about how to handle the snake.
I can't speak for Elias specifically what they're speaking of, but for me, how do they house a snake? Customer follow up. Hey, my snake's not eating. Well, how big's the enclosure? I got a 100-gallon enclosure. It's plenty big. Yeah, it's too big. The snake's scared to death. It's not going to eat while it's scared. So like working through that, and then also figuring out. I don't do much on my website. Again, thanks to Husbandry.pro on it, but having a website was a fantastic tool to where I could say to people, hey, I have this care sheet here. I've curated all my education into one spot, and I think it's a great resource for you. I'd love to have you start there because there's going to be a detail I forget off the top of my head, or texting you. I can't get into these deeper nuances texting you. Please check this out. And it becomes a service that I could provide, and it builds trust and credibility and all that with customers. So it became a real tool. But again, it's all those other things. Like you get to, from a business standpoint, you get to a point where you look around and you go, there's 30,000 other ball python breeders. What am I going to do different? So Garden State Pete saying, posting on Instagram, trying to create some sort of media separation.
Right. Yeah.
Elias, teaching husbandry care. Genetics. Yeah. I mean, I did know I would have to understand them, but I didn't know I'd be like into genetics, calculating odds off the top of my head and that stuff.
Educating the clients that you, and let me just say, you call them clients. Should you call them clients or customers?
I don't know. Interchangeable. I don't
The
know.
client seems to be somebody who comes back and you're taking care of them, on a regular basis. Whereas a customer is more of like a one-time transaction kind of thing, and maybe they'll come back.
Yeah, I definitely call
That's how I see the difference.
I definitely call my consulting customers clients. Like that's a deep relationship. Like that's ideally that's years long. So for sure. I learned with the customers or clients in the snake world, part of the brand reputation is, yes, you want to give good service, but you also don't want to be known, even if it's not your fault, you don't want to be known as somebody that sold an unhealthy snake. So if somebody is saying, hey, it's not eating, this thing isn't healthy, when I know I sold a perfectly healthy snake, first, I want a healthy animal and I want a happy customer, but I also don't want them in a local market going, oh, well, this thing from Proper Royals, it was garbage kind of deal. And so like some of those, when I hear other people say, well, I'm not going to put up with that crap, they could go on, I'm going, no, I have to work harder at that crap because I need that person. Yeah. I need that person really. I need to be able to, I want to get them, like I say, first I want to achieve success with them. But even if I don't, I want them to be able to say, man, that guy did work with me. Like he really, I check in with, customers often. I'll, once a week or so, I'll kind of go back through my inquiries, my emails and my messages, and I'll just fire off, how's the animal doing? You happy with the purchase? Anything you need help with? Anything you're still looking for? Because then you could build repeat customers too that way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How about this? Giving a snake shots.
That's pretty weird. I gotta say, I've had to do that with one animal. Yeah. Giving anything a shot is weird. And then, a writhing snake that, you're trying to, and I will say this should only be done under the guidance of a vet. And I did have help from a vet. There's a vet that I work with, and they're kind enough to, FaceTime or video call with me. And so they're talking me through how I'm going to give an injection of an antibiotic to a snake. The snake's upper, they're not really teeth, but we'll call them teeth for lack of a better word. They're like really sharp, firm fingernails. So they break off sometimes, and it's very common that they break off. But so if you're feeding with tongs and the snake hits a tong, the metal piece, sometimes they'll break, and sometimes this only happened once that I know of, but they'll actually get jammed into the roof of their mouth, and then it developed an infection. So I needed to get this snake healthy, and it was like, all right, you're gonna have these needles, this syringe, this particular antibiotic, this dosage, and here's how you're gonna do it. And you're like, I'm injecting a snake here right now, and it is an odd sensation. Yes.
Yeah, the getting into going. Yeah, I could do this. This is great. That would be something like wow, I didn't know I would have to be doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I think, and then temperature, like keeping the temperature, keeping a place that is to me, like setting up okay, any job that I've had just requires a desk and a computer or whatever.
Right. Yeah, there's an easier path than we've chosen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like that, to me, I see that and I go, oh, you've got to regulate temperature. You've got to make sure that there's a certain amount of humidity, I think, or something like that. You got to make sure that you have the right equipment. I see the mini split in the back. That's what it's called, right? A mini split in the back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, all of that stuff, like I wouldn't even imagine, that people in the industry would have to put together and make sure that's all set up. I mean, is that something like, I'm sure as a hobbyist, you kind of go, okay, that's definitely something that you need to do. But all of that other stuff of making sure that the environment in which they would thrive, you got to learn about that and keep that constant all the time.
You do, and as you grow, you just have to learn more and more of it. But it is a neat. For whatever reason, I really enjoy like problem solving, and I never would. Yeah. I look back at like my high school self. I'm like, word problems and math. That's what I'll ever use this for. Like it's my whole life. Like
it's your whole life.
Yeah, it turns out you use it all the time.
There you
go. But
that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example actually, because you go, how often in school do you go, when am I going to use this? And then you're using it. You're using that kind of logic to problem solve.
Right. Yeah. Like my son is like, when am I ever going to solve for X? I'm like, actually, son, you do algebra constantly in life. Now, quadratic equations. Yeah, you have a point. I don't think you're ever going to use that again, but you might. Who knows? But
you're exercising that part of your brain to be strong in that certain kind of logic. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But so what we find is like almost every person starts from a hobby standpoint. So like, I'm guessing most people don't start doing taxes as a hobby. You go to school for it, or I know you took a different path, but some people might go to school for it, become experts, get trained. Almost without exception, every person in this world started as a hobbyist and bootstrapping and figuring it out. So every environment is unique. Every, the things that I figured out in Florida, I had to refigure out in Minnesota because like you say, the temperatures and the humidity are very different. We don't use natural gas boilers in Florida. I don't know what a boiler is in Florida. I don't have a boiler. I don't know what a boiler is. And up here, I don't know. What's this boiler? I don't know what a boiler is. And so, those things are kind of interesting, but it also builds a community because I don't know, maybe there's like a niche, like online world of taxes. Maybe there probably is. Actually, there is for everything else, but you find this like forums, YouTube, these ridiculous podcasts that everybody has. All of this information is out there, and it's sort of almost crowdsources, and that has its faults because you can have amateurs proclaiming professional insight, which is dangerous in any walk of life.
Right. Yeah.
But you also do find professionals that have professional insight. And so that's been pretty neat. But I think to me, it still goes back to like any business, not hobby, but business, you're going to realize that it's the thing you do, but it's also everything around the thing that you do. And as you grow bigger, there's going to be new challenges. I had to figure out where I was going to put all the rodent bedding, the waste. I got to keep the rodents clean. So every week, I've got like 100 pounds of bedding and waste and rodent stuff. It turns out, the trash barrels aren't big enough to hold all of it. So I either have to buy more of that, but it also turns out they don't want that. The trash company doesn't want that in the trash barrels. So I'm not saying I'm too proud to put it in the trash barrel, but you start attracting a certain level of attention, you're getting a little attention you're not interested in. So you got to figure out, like, I was like, and the local dump charges me $30 every time I drive in. I'm not going to pay $30 every week to go throw away waste. So I actually had to find a guy that somewhere between compost and he makes this stuff called biochar. He turns the rat waste into biochar. I'm like, fantastic. Comes and picks it up every week.
No,
never
so
thought I'd be shopping rat waste to
So this is something about, I think, owning a business, which is very interesting. And actually, I think back to when I worked with the Catholic Church, the amount of priests that were not priests. They were
a lot of them had careers and stuff, right? Yeah.
Well, no. Like what I mean is, like, if they were pastoring a church, their main job should be, getting ready for the big Sunday homily and making sure that
got to play the hits on Sunday. Yeah.
In between, and it's really about pastoring people, right? But that's not. They spend a lot of time just running the church, like doing the business of the church.
Yeah, you got to
doing like renovations on these old buildings and stuff. So it reminds me, and it also speaks to like what our company is doing now, like our CPA and owner. We're doing a lot of compliance work, just tax returns and bookkeeping and stuff. Like what he likes is advising. He wants to be an advisor. So one of the things that
that is an office ringtone right there, man. That'll take you right back to the cubicle, huh?
Yes. So one of the things that we're trying to do is we're actually trying to replace him. We're trying to find a way to replace him so that he can actually do the things that he really likes to do, which is the reason why he got into this business. So it's interesting. Like I heard that that idea from some conference that I went to, is that if you get into a situation where you started a business and you were passionate about the subject of your business, but all of these other things came into play that takes you away from that passion, really work to try and replace yourself and make yourself replaceable, which is kind of an odd idea.
It is an odd idea, and it's something I was actually talking with Kelly about last night. It takes trust. You have to trust people to handle some of your most special, prized, cared about this thing you work so hard, because otherwise you get bogged down in all that stuff. I was talking about the like, I'm going to have to learn how to run a car wash like really fast. Like, in about 29 hours, I'm going to own one. So, like that's going to be a pretty steep learning curve. And
you think?
I don't know, but, hang on. I do want to talk about this one idea, and I know we're going to go a little bit into overtime, but we're like hitting it right now. There are the unexpected skills that you have to have, but then there's also universal truths that you're never going to get away from. And I think that's important. So let's dive into that in just a second. I got to tell you about Reagan, Renee, Royal Pythons. That's Charlie Ryan and Cherry Hill. You should go check out what he's got on his morph market right now. He's a world-class ball python breeder. He's also in the running. He's trying to earn your votes. You could probably like negotiate a deal and trade for some votes on the 15 minutes of lame competition. Well deserving if he were to win. But check out his Instagram, his YouTube, and his morph market. Great friend of the show. Always swoops in to help us out when one of us has to step out. And Keith at Kreative Genetics, he and I have been working on clown axanthic projects this year. We've got some hatchlings if you're interested in any of that. Double, triple hets, some combos, as well as he just hatched some super gravel clowns and highway combinations. He's got some stranger, also hypo clown, axanthic and pied projects. So check out Kreative Genetics. Joe, what occurred to me is there's universal truths. At the end of the day, you're probably selling a service or you're selling a widget. If you're selling a widget, and I'm not reducing live animals to a widget. Don't get me wrong. For a philosophical conversation, though, there's a thing that you're selling, and you're going to bring value to that thing. And so that allows you to charge a certain price more than perhaps what the competitor could charge for or the person can make it themselves for, right? We buy a can of corn because there's added value that you didn't have to farm the corn. You didn't have to cut it off of the husk. You didn't have to can it. And now it's in your cabinet whenever the hell you want because of the value that's added to that item. And that's what you're paying for when you buy the can of corn. Those universal truths start to apply. So there's always going to be inventory that's either created or coming in. It's going out. You're going to have cost of goods. You're going to have systems, processes, checklists, and organization. You're going to have wear and tear. You're going to have a life expectancy on equipment. You're going to have overhead operating costs. And those things are always going to be in any business, I think. Now, it sounds crazy because my background is, I always say my background is hospitality, but really I was selling widgets. That what you sell is a whole lot more of a service, in my opinion, than yes, it took service. Yes, it takes hospitality. Yes, customer service is a universal truth. You always have to have that. But really, I was selling stuff. Weddings a little bit different. That's a service. But those two categories have these overarching universal truths. So there are a lot of days where I'm like, my God, what am I doing today? Why am I stuck in this quagmire of whatever? And it goes to, well, you're stuck in that because that's the world that you chose. You're selling things. You have a certain amount of inventory. You have to separate yourself from everybody else who's selling that inventory, and you have to bring value to that item. And yeah, sometimes I gotta tell people to go check out the care sheet and walk them through that and earn their trust and confidence and thanks. And to circle all the way back to what you were talking about, building that brand and that brand trust, you got to be doing it all the time. What you were saying about being in the moment and enjoying the moment and making the most of every moment is exactly true. I'm not going to name any names because it's private business, but I was at a show recently. I'd traveled a long, long way for it. The overhead was massive, 2 nights a hotel, 3 days on the road, gas, all that. And I did no revenue at the show.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know, somebody I talked to at that show, within 2 to 3 weeks, committed to buy the most expensive snake I sold this year.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
If I had been, sales suck, the market sucks, these are all nonsense, this is the ball pythons are dead, that person wasn't going to buy from me. First, that's not me. Second, first, I was being actually me, legitimately me. I was still happy. I was happy to be able to be out traveling among the crowd in the world that I wanted to choose and be happy to be a part of. Little did I know I was brand building right then. And now I don't care that trip didn't technically make any money that trip. It's all good. It's all part of the business. And so, yes, there's unique skills and weird things like, I learned yesterday that to make those soap brush things work in a car wash, you have to have an air compressor that's pushing air through that makes the soap foamy so that it's foamy by the time it gets to the brush. Nobody wants liquid Dawn all over their truck. You want foam, man. You want the bubbles. You got to feel good about it. 21 PSI. That's how you get your bubbles in your soap. That's what I found out yesterday.
It's these things that kind of crop up. It's incredible, all this stuff. That's why, you know, when you do see a successful business owner, I'm impressed by it, because you know that it's not just the content of their business that they needed to learn. It's all of these other things. It's incredible.
I'll leave on this note. I've never put it exactly this way, but the perfect business is almost like I used to tell people, you got to be the duck above the water. You're just calm, just looking around, having a good old time, cruising along. Under the water, you're pooing yourself. You're paddling as fast as you can. You got alligators on your feet, snapping turtles. You don't know what's going on. Above the water, though, you're just cruising, man. And that's kind of what business is on that. So be the duck, man. Work hard, but keep your wits about you.
Thanks for the conversation again. Thanks for a great Thursday morning. Let's get to work. And I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Any final thoughts, Adam?
Thanks for the support. I saw new people in the audience, and that is I'm always amazed that just from the sheer time slot that anybody tunes in. So I'm thankful and full of gratitude on that. But yeah, if you like the show, do a little like and subscribe. We do it every Thursday. And thanks for checking it out. Thanks for the audience that puts a little fuel in our tank. And Joe, thanks to you. I'm glad you had a safe trip too. That was a big ordeal, big undertaking.
That was great. It was fun. It's always fun to do that kind of crazy stuff.
See you guys next week.
Okay. See ya.